Hey guys, today we're working on changes in state of matter. Okay, we're gonna work with water and we're gonna go ahead and take water to different states, to a solid, to a liquid, okay, and then back to a gas. So it's gonna go back and forth, okay, and it's all gonna be possible because of heat. So stick here with me and then we'll work together to get there, okay? All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm gonna title water in the center. The reason water goes in the middle because it's in between a solid and a gas. So water, okay? Now, in order for me to get water to a solid, what do you guys think I need to do? Do I need to add heat or do I need to take away heat? Okay, I believe I need to take away heat. Okay, so if I'm going to take away, I'm going to go ahead and put it down here. I'm going to take away some heat to turn it into a solid. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and add. I have water here. I'm going to pour it into a small bag because that's the water I want to turn into a solid. Okay. And then I'm gonna add it into a container of ice. Now, it's not just ice. If it was just ice, it would never turn it into ice because it's melting. So I had to add ice cream salt. Ice cream salt actually brings the temperature down. So I'm gonna go ahead and test the temperature with my thermometer here. So it's at -7. So it's extremely cold. Okay, because it's extremely cold, it should turn it into a solid. So again, we have water. We're gonna remove the heat that is in there, and the particles inside are gonna compact together, and it should turn into a solid. So let's go ahead and do that. I put it in there, and again, with the help of salt and me mixing it, okay, it should turn into a solid. Okay, what am I doing? I am removing the heat. I'm taking away the heat that's in here and I'm removing it. So let's go ahead and write that down. I am removing heat. I am removing heat. That means I'm taking away heat. That's kind of hard to understand, right? How can you take away heat? Well, the molecules start to press together and then the heat that's in there is actually being released. Okay, so let's go ahead and shake it a little bit more and then let's see if it's already a solid. It might take a little bit longer. Okay, all right, but it will turn into a solid. I'll come back to this, okay? So let's go ahead and draw the diagram. So it is a solid. What do we call solid water? We don't call it solid water. We call it ice, okay? So we have ice now. Whenever we had water, we take away the heat. We remove the heat. It turned into ice. Now, you're stuck at ice. Can you go any further back? There's no other state of matter that goes further back. So we're going to go back to water, okay? And there's something that I need to do to be able to go back to water. Okay, I need to do the opposite of removing heat. Instead of taking away heat, I'm gonna add heat. Okay, so whenever you have ice and you add heat, okay, I'll give you an example in a little bit. But right now, let's take a look at our solid one more time. And again, it should already be turned into a solid. All right, as you can see, it is already, you hear it? It is a solid now, okay? Now we're gonna turn this solid, okay, because we removed the heat. Now we're gonna do the opposite. We're going to add heat and turn it back into water, okay? So I'm gonna put it into another container. Okay. As you can see, as soon as I took it out, because the air is much hotter, it's hotter than the water in here, okay? It's already melting, okay? It's already melting. So I'm gonna add a little bit of warm water to completely melt the ice off, okay? Once you do that, notice that we are back at water, okay? We had ice, now we're back at water. And same thing here, we had ice, now we're back at water, okay? Now, let's look at these. What process do you think they're called? So, the process where water turns into a solid. When I remove the heat, what process was that? Okay? Let's go ahead and write this one down right here. So when water turns into ice, it's called freezing, okay? So you freeze water to turn into ice. Now, what about when you add heat? What about when you add heat, when you have ice and you turn it into water? What do you call that process? Okay, yes, we call that melting. So we have freezing. Again, when you remove heat, you freeze. When you add heat to ice and turns into water, it's called melting, okay? All right, and this happens at the same temperature, okay? It freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and it melts at 0 degrees Celsius, okay? That's a pretty cool thing, right? All right, so let's go a little bit further. Now that we have water, I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into my water pot, okay? It is a coffee pot, and I'm gonna put it to boil, okay? I'm gonna add heat. So I'm gonna go further now. I'm already at water, I'm gonna go a step further. And I'm going to add more heat. Okay, I'm gonna add more heat, and that requires a lot of energy, okay? So I am adding more heat, and as I am adding more heat, okay, as you can see, or you can hear, notice the bottom of the pot, it is boiling, okay? There's bubbles. You see the bubbles? Okay, that is called boiling. The water is actually turning into a gas, okay? You may not see the gas because that gas is usually invisible when it's because it's so small, okay? But it is evaporating most of the water, okay? You can't see the gas, but it is evaporating, okay? And now it's boiling more. All right. That's pretty cool, right? So this is called when the water turns into a gas. It's called water vapor. Okay, it's an invisible gas. You can't see it, okay, but it's there. Okay. And again, in order to get there, we had to add heat. We had to add heat, okay, and it boils. That's called, the process is called boiling. So whenever you want, whenever your mom is cooking, she usually puts a pot with water. Like if she wants to do pasta, macaroni, or something with water, she puts a pot and it boils, okay? We want it to get to the boiling point, okay? And that happens at about 100 degrees Celsius, okay? 100 degrees Celsius, that's really hot. Right now, my temperature, it's about 32 degrees Celsius. okay? Maybe it's a little bit more, but imagine from 32 trying to get to 100. That's a lot, okay? All right. Now, if we want to go back, we want to go from water vapor, and you want to go back to water. What do I need to do? Can I add more heat? No, I cannot, right? I cannot add more heat. So I have to do the opposite. If I want to go back, I have to do the opposite. And the opposite is take away heat. So remove heat. I'm going to have to remove heat to go back. I'm going to remove heat. Okay? And that's a process that happens a lot. Okay? The reason why it rains outside is because of this. The reason why we have weather is because of this. Okay? The reason why there's hurricanes, it's because of this. Okay? So by removing the heat from the water vapor, okay? So the water vapor, all the molecules are spread out because it's a gas. So by removing the heat, those water molecules start to get cold and start to get closer and closer together and start to combine, okay? I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So I'm gonna add some ice into a container, okay? And then I'm gonna add hot water on another one, and then you're gonna see what happens. So again, this water was boiling, okay, a while ago. And because it was boiling, some of the water vapor is coming out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on top, okay? And notice that it's not crystal clear anymore. This is crystal clear, now it's not crystal clear anymore, okay? So the water vapor is now being cold, it's starting to get cold, and it's starting to combine the molecules. The molecules start to combine, and then they eventually become water droplets, okay? And the longer I stay here, the bigger the water droplets become, okay? And I can do this for a while. And if I stay there, again, the water droplets get bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually they get too big and they fall to the ground. And that's where the water cycle comes in, okay? But notice right here, if I was to wipe it clean, okay, notice that it's clear now, and whatever is in my hand, that's water. That's not water vapor anymore, that's water now, okay? So that process is called condensation. Okay. The process in which water vapor turns back into a liquid, which is from a gas to a liquid, that's called condensation. Okay. All right. And you can see that again, usually when you're drinking a soda, okay, and it's really cold and it's warm outside, like in a hot summer day, you see your soda crying, you see your soda sweating, you see your soda dripping with a lot of water, and that's not the water from the inside. That's not the soda coming out of the container. No, that's not what happens. It's the condensation, okay? I can wipe it clean, and then more will start to form, okay? There's water there. Very good. Okay, so we went all the way around. We started with water. We removed heat. Sorry, we didn't add heat. We removed heat first, and then we turned it into ice. Once we had ice, we had to go backwards. So we add more heat to it to turn it back into water. Okay, and then that happens whenever you go and you buy a popsicle, and then it's liquid. You put it in the freezer, it freezes, you come back out, and it melts again, right? So that's the cycle that goes through there. Okay. Now, when you have water and you want to go a step further, you have to add more heat. By adding more heat, that water wants to spread out, And because it spreads out so much, it actually turns into a gas to where the molecules just go everywhere. So it turns into a gas called water vapor, okay? And this water vapor is in the air right now as we speak, okay? But when the water vapor cools down or it removes heat, or some of the heat is removed from the water vapor, it condenses. It condenses back into water, okay? It goes back into the water, and then we're back to where we started. Okay, all right. Hopefully you understand this video. I know it's a lot. Please make sure to pause the video as I'm going through. Okay, it's very important that you pause the video so that you make sure you write everything down so that we have our notes. Okay, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. This is a big help. I hope you guys like it. Please stay tuned for the next video. Okay, make sure you watch the whole video and give me a like. All right, thank you guys. See you next time.